So I've been directed to go back to Rage Against the Machine, and the song I'm told to check out is called Killing in the Name. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Nasty.
Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. Now you do what they told you. 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 And now you do what they told you. And now you do what they told you.
What I like about Rage Against the Machine is they remind me a little bit from the little bit I've heard from Nirvana is they say a lot with just saying a little bit, meaning that they'll repeat the same verse over and over and over again, but it's very, very impactful, and I love it. When that mean-ass riff starts, man, it really is powerful.
Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. Now you do what they told you. Now you do what they told you. Now you do what they told you.
The song is very fitting for today.
Now you do what they told you. Now you do what they told you. Now you do what they told you. And 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 now you do what they told you. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen white. You're justified. Those that died for wearing the badge and your chosen white. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen white. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge and your chosen white. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. Now you do what they told you. And 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 now you do what they told you. You're under control. And now you do what they told you. You're under control. And now you do what they told you. You're under control. And now you do what they told you. Now you're under control. And now you do what they told you. Now you're under control. And now you do what they told you. Now you're under control. And now you do what they told you. Now you're under control. And now you do what they told you. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen white. You're justified. Those that died for wearing the badge and your chosen white. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen white. You're justified. Those that died for wearing the badge and your chosen white. Come on. what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Motherfucker!
Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine is a protest song that criticizes the military-industrial complex and police brutality. The song's lyrics and message were inspired by the 1991 police beatings of Rodney King and the 1992 Los Angeles riots. Now, I was just a kid when those riots and that police beating happened, so I was living in Ohio, and this is well before the social media boom. So things that happen in one side of the country, you know, if you were in Ohio, you really wasn't paying attention to it like that, especially if you grew up in the hood the way I did. So I didn't learn about the Rodney King thing and the Los Angeles riots until well into my adult years, although I'd always heard jokes from comedians and skits and stuff like that about how Rodney King got the brakes beat off of him, and the "can't we all just get along" quote that he was famous for. So I'd always seen the jokes, but then when I finally watched the documentary, it was very intense, okay? And putting two and two together, listening to this song, Rage Against the Machine, and going back and replaying that documentary in my mind, I can see that the energy in this video, the lyrics in this video embodies how those people felt during that riot. Now, I'm not an advocate of anyone destroying their community, even if they're upset with their government. I think there's better ways to do it. But what do you expect from people on the lower end of the totem pole? A lot of times they're gonna rage out. They're gonna, lash out in one of the few ways that they know how, which is violence, which is destruction, unfortunately. And the more things change, the more they stay the same. Because if you look at what's going on today, you see that a lot of the stuff is still going on. I'm not saying, like, even with the police brutality, I don't think that is nowhere near as bad as it was back then, because back then the cops didn't have to wear body cams. And I do think that if a police officer shoots someone or beats someone, that it's magnified on social media because that clip is played a million times on every blog, and it seems like it's happening everywhere. Although in my entire life, I've never had a bad experience with a cop beating me or pulling the gun on me, and neither has any of the black men that I know. Okay, so it's not as crazy as the media would make you think. I'm not afraid of getting pulled over by a cop. I don't think I'm going to get shot. In fact, if you go down the YouTube rabbit hole and watch most black people get pulled over, most of the time they're more aggressive than the cop. But it does happen, and when it happens and the cop just gets a slap on the wrist or just gets hired to the next police station, then that's what truly pisses people off, and that I don't agree with. When I look at what's going on in the government now and the people that are in charge at the current recording of this video, Kamala Harris is running against former President Donald Trump. And there's a lot of propaganda around if Donald Trump becomes president, how it's going to be the end of the world. And it seems like most people have forgotten that he was already president before. And last time I checked, things were pretty decent when he was president, versus the other candidate that he's running against wasn't even selected by the people. Okay. And she's run for president before, and she was the first to get put out. And all of a sudden, this propaganda media machine is pushing her to be like some women empowerment. I don't know what narrative they're going with her, but when you sit down with her and you ask her a direct question, She does a lot of word salad and feel good talk and emotional talk that really gets certain people who fall for that type of thing going. And yeah, we're going to be the first woman president and all of that. It's like we're living in the Twilight Zone. You know, I always thought the presidential position was a position that you really had to be qualified for. You had to be a leader. You had to be someone who could lead men and women. And don't get me talking about politics too much, but we are talking about Rage Against the Machine. This is a political song, and we are in an extremely political time. We're at a time where the border is wide open, and the person running for president was in charge of the border. And you have so many people that like are just looking straight past that. Like, if she can't do that, what makes you think she can do the other things? All right, just what happened to common sense? You know, I understand that you may hate the Republican Party, and I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. Okay, I try to think independently, but I'm not a fan of the borders being wide open and benefits being given to people who have no allegiance to this country. Okay, and yet there are people who can't afford health care. Groceries are high as hell. Gas is high. Cities are falling. Okay, beloved cities. Because of bad policies. You have people, there's a fentanyl crisis going on throughout the country that's currently rising. There's STD crisis. There's so many issues. But when these people sit down in front of a microphone and sit in front of a camera, they're talking about things that don't matter. And they're not answering direct questions. And they don't have a real plan for anything, okay? And it's a scary time, in my opinion. Maybe I could be overthinking it. But the amount of people that I see that are not asking the right questions because they're rooting for their party like they're rooting for their favorite football team, okay? It's a scary situation that we're in. And I don't really care for talking politics too much on my channel because I know it splits the room. And I'm the type of person that regardless of who you're voting for, it's not going to make me hate you in any kind of way. It's not going to make me dislike you in any kind of way. But we've gotten to the point where now if you say you're voting for Trump or you're voting for this, you know, people like, they don't want to talk to you. They hate your guts and all that other stuff. And that's another issue that's part of the problem. I'm not the biggest fan of Trump either. I think that he divides the room. I think a great president doesn't divide the room. Okay, that's one thing but I do remember what life was like when he was president. So all this propaganda that's being pushed about Trump becoming a dictator and all that crazy stuff. He was president before. Has these cell phones really numbed out people's memories and where they just totally forgot that he's been president? And last I checked, times were a lot better then than they are now in comparison. And when you sit down someone who was not even elected by the people, they don't even answer direct questions. They don't have a plan. Okay, it's just, I'm rambling. All right, but this song, Rage Against the Machine, there is no song like that now where it's teaching people to rage against the machine that's currently going on now, and not raging by tearing up your community, but by not falling for propaganda. So I love the essence of the message of this song. The song itself is pretty dope. I would bang it in the Forerunner. And yeah, you know, you guys educate me if I'm wrong in the comments section. All right, if I'm wrong. But what I'm seeing now, it's like we're in the Twilight Zone. And I'm like, what? This person isn't even qualified to be a president, in my opinion, in my GED opinion. All right. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments section. This was fun. Peace.